What is up, guys? My name is Mark Samrail. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the RC vlog. Today I am going to start up it's got to be at least 3 years since I've ran this engine, my 3-year-old Nitro engine. So if you caught the last Mark's Garage, I did a Mark's Garage on this car. This is my Traxxas 3.3 Jado. There's just not much for me to do with it, so besides just driving around in parking lots, and usually around this time of the year is whenever I decide I want to drive this stuff. It being nice and cool outside, but this thing hasn't been started in 3 years. I'm pretty sure I did the correct things to store the engine, which I'll do another video about how to store a Nitro engine after this, but I'm pretty sure I did the right things. I kind of did my initial inspections on the car. Everything looks fine. There's actually there's a dead bug on my car. I mean, that's how old this thing is. Let's see this bug. Let me see if I can get it off and show you guys. Yep, that was a dead bug. That's pretty bad. Anyways, so when I pick up an old Nitro car, the very first thing I'll check is if the flywheel will turn. So I kind of already did on this one. It will turn. It's a little stiff. I mean, you could tell that it's a little gummed up in there a little bit. The things that I'm concerned about, not because it's gummed up, but if there's gum up in the carburetor, things like that, the very first thing, again, is to make sure that it's loose enough where you can hit it with a bump box or at least try to start it. And then the next thing will be putting fuel in this thing and seeing if it will actually push fuel into the carb. So I got my batteries charging for this thing. Oh, one caveat to this could go catastrophically bad. This is running just regular high-tech servos. When I say regular, not high voltage, high-tech servos. I'm sponsored by ProTech. I'm running high-tech on this. This car was built way before I was sponsored by ProTech. These are more of my basher servos, but this is a high-tech 5625 for throttle, and then a high-tech, looks like a 5645 MG for the steering. So they are not high-voltage servos, and I'm going to run a high-voltage battery pack, a LiPo battery pack on them. I've done this before. I do it with Futaba servos all the time. The old, I think they were called 9351 Futaba 9351s. I used to run high voltage even though they weren't high voltage. Most servos can take it. I'm not sure how these servos are going to take it, but we're going to try it. So worst case scenario, I'll blow these things up and I'll put some ProTech ones in there. So I got my batteries charging. I'm going to wire everything up. I actually charged my glow plug igniter. That is always a bad thing when you're ready to drive Nitro and you forget to charge your glow plug. Don't forget to charge your glow plug igniter. I'm going to put all the batteries in it and see if I can get some fuel to go into the carb, and then we're going to try to start this thing up. So, I'll be right back. So good news, I turned it on and it actually works. That would have been a really bad thing if I hooked it all up and it didn't even work. So we have power. The throttle looks like it's working. Let's see if it's open all the way up. I have a really beefy throttle return spring. Alright, so we look good there. Actually, let's open up the carb. Could probably open it up a little bit more than that, but that should be alright. Alright, so first off, before I continue, let me tell you the proper things to do in this case. Probably the best thing to do before you start a really old motor is to put the carb needles back in the original or factory settings. So I kind of remember what factory settings are in Traxxas motor, but I believe it's 4 turns out from all the way in on the high-speed needle, and on the low-speed needle it needs to be flush with the collet or the carb collet thing, whatever. Anyways, to set the carb exactly at factory settings before you start it, at least you know you're at a good starting position. The other thing I would probably typically do is clean out the air filter and make sure your fuel tubing and everything is not rotted or decayed or anything. In my case, I'm just going to freaking wing it because I don't want to check that stuff. I want to see how close I was. I want to see what it's like. Also, it's cold outside. When it gets cold outside, you typically want to richen your car up just a little bit because the air is more dense. You need a little bit more fuel. But I'm going to live life dangerously. I mean, you only live once, right? I'm just going to try to start it up. If it won't start up, then we'll go back to factory settings, and you guys can see how I troubleshoot from there. But let's put some fuel in it and see if... Hold on, I want to set... Nah, screw it. See if we get fuel in the carb. We got fuel. Oh, the other thing is last time this thing ran, it probably ran off of 20% nitro fuel. Again, I like to party, so we're going 30 all day. The other thing you probably want to do if you really want to be super careful, which again I'm doing this because I want to see where I left off at, but reset the carb settings, probably replace the glow plug, make sure your fuel line is all good, and make sure there's no clogging in your fuel tank. I'm just living life dangerously, so I'm going to try to do this. Anyways, my garage is closed. I'm just going to see if fuel goes into the carb now. So the way you prime it, you just plug the stinger on your exhaust. Click here, I'll do it that way so you guys can see it. Cover the exhaust and then hit it with a bump. Let's hope that it bumps. And then when it bumps, I should see fuel shoot directly into the carb. This isn't the first time I'm doing this, so this could go bad. I don't know. We'll see. Well, you gotta turn the bump box on first. Oh, didn't want to hit. Yeah, so we are not making contact here, or we are, and it just doesn't want to turn. Yeah, it's locked up. All right. Really locked up. Oh, you hear that? We got a little bit there. I'm also using a 3S battery. That's good. Alright, so I'm not seeing fuel getting shot in there. And I'm about to blow my motor on my thing. So let's see if we can get it loose. There you go, that was good. Alright. See? Now I'm smelling burning. You got my freaking... I am not getting fuel to go in. So, let's do this. I'm going to loosen the glow plug. You should see the shavings on my starter box. Look at the shavings of the wheel. So it is turning over, just not throwing fuel in. You can see rubber getting shot out from where my... Alright, maybe I should just stop trying to destroy my wheel. Alright, so I got a couple options. One, I can try to beef up my starter box and hook a 4S up to it. I feel like the motor is loose enough for it to work. My carb isn't sucking fuel in, so that's a bad thing. It should suck it in pretty freaking quick. Let's go back to the drawing board. I'm going to take my plug out. See if we can take some of the compression out. And see if we get it to spin freer. Something just came out of that thing. Plug looks okay. So now this should spin really free. Yep. Alright, so that's spinning free. I'm going to put a little shot of WD in there, WD-40 in the just a little mini shot. There you go. There you go. Now it's really spinning, see? Ooh, you can smell it. Alright. We're all loosened up in there. Real loosened up in there. We put our plug back in. I always like to put my plug in upside down because if there's any debris in there, it will fall out. Alright, just nice and tight. Get all this crap off. Alright. Now, so we can start up. Oh. Alright, I see fuel trying to go in. But it is not. So, let's pull this, the fuel line going into the carb out. And we are going to see if it's a carb buildup. We'll be able to see if the fuel, so basically what I'm doing is I took the fuel line out of the carb. I'm just putting it in the fuel tank. Oh, I guess you can't put it in the fuel tank. I need to put it in something to see if the fuel comes out. So let me get a water bottle. I see one. Alright, water bottle. We'll turn this around so you guys can see it. This is fun. See? This will tell me if it's even pushing fuel in. It's possible that this could not be pushing fuel in, which it should be. There you go. Do you see that? It just shot fuel like crazy. So, looks like there's a blockage in the carb. I want to see if it fires up. Let's route this fuel line correctly first. Fuel is going through. That is a plus. I'm gonna route my fuel line back. It's almost like the carb is clogged, but we're gonna see if we can get it to free up anyways. My garage is closed and I'm starting my car. Do not try this at home. I'm just gonna see if it fires up. So we are running. Oh, it's a lot of smoke. I gotta open the garage. I'll be right back. So we did shoot fuel. It looked like the carb, maybe the idle wasn't high enough or something, where the carb wasn't letting enough air in to suck the fuel in. But we got it. I'm about to, I opened the garage. I could already smell smoke. We're gonna see if we can get this thing to run. So let's do this. We got fuel to go through. It started to catch a little bit. Looks like my tune might be a little off. To me, it looked like my idle was a smidge low. It wasn't getting enough air in there to suck the fuel into the car, but we're going to try to actually get it to run here in a second. I was going to get to run now, but I forgot my glow plug igniter, so let me go get that. Alright, here we go. Bottom end's a little fat. but it's not warm yet, so we're gonna let it warm up a little bit. Alright, you see how it dies after I let it idle for a little bit? That seems like either the bottom is fat or the idle's too low. So we're going to try to get the top end first as close as we can. It's a little hard to get the top end with the second gear because the tires start spinning way too fast. But it looked like maybe the top end was a little too lean. So let's try it again. So I richened up the top end because the top end seemed a little lean. I'm going to bump the idle because the idle is too low. Let's see. Oh, might have bumped the idle too high. Oops. Let's go back a little bit. Alright, did you see that, guys? Whenever I left the plug igniter in there, it would run just fine. So what that's telling me is I probably need to change the plug, and then we'll come back here and start tuning again. So I'll be right back.